Between the last part and this part of the video series, I was not able to figure out how to get the Jumbotron to only show for one piece of content that is available. So instead, I'm going to take a different approach to that particular problem and continue building out the template for the MkDocs website or blog that I'm building. Here we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump right back into it. All right, here we were from the last part of the series. We're working on the Jumbotron to get it to show just for the first piece of content. Instead, I'm going to actually change the logic in here that posts this Jumbotron. So I'm gonna leave what's in here, but instead I'm going to actually add an attribute in the page that will check to see if the item is set to be the featured piece of content. And if it is set to be the featured piece of content, then it will show on the page. And what I'm going to do, so I'm going to use navchild meta featured, so that value does exist. It will put it as the Jumbotron, and the only thing is I'll just have to make sure that there are not two pages in here that have the featured tag as the Jumbotron. There are not two pages that have the featured meta attribute set. And that should be fairly difficult to do. Just got to make sure you got to remember what's there and remove the other one. So I'm going to just say feature true. It could be yes, it could be 1, whatever value goes there, because we're not going to actually display the value. We're just putting a value there so that it knows that something needs to be shown there. All right, and so here we have our one piece of content here. Now let's go back to the page here, and we're going to actually change the title, and we're going to say navchild, and we're going to do navchild.title, and actually need to put that in braces. Title. And I want to also put in the link to this particular page. So we're going to do navchild.url. We're going to pipe that to URL, which is a special filtering mechanism that is used in the Jinja templating engine. And then for this one, I'm going to actually use the actually going to make this an if condition here. And what I want to do is actually put in the description for this page. So we're going to take that out, and we're going to check to see if the actually don't need 2 braces, so you just need 1. If navchild.meta.description, then you're going to display the navchild.meta.description, and if there is nothing else there, then you're going to do what was done down here with the truncating of the navchild content. And need to close this out, so do end if with the parentheses there. All right, now here we have it, and it's working correctly. So we have the title of our post as well as the description of said post, and how we're triggering that is, again, in the content we have a true flag in the meta here for featured, and so with that there, anytime that flag is there, it will show true. So the only thing is you just got to make sure that you don't have it set in that featured meta attribute in multiple places. Otherwise, you will get multiple Jumbotron showing on the home page. All right, and to check the link, so it does point to the Red Mountain Park post. and going down, you'll see at the top of the page here, we actually have the post show, the title of the page showing up twice, and that's something I'm gonna have to fix next. So if we go back to this particular section here, and here we have the page title. And what it's doing is actually the page title is in the body content or the page content of that page. And so what's happening is it's pulling the title and saying, okay, I see the title, but then I'm posting it again because it's in the content or the body of the page. And that's how we are getting this double page heading. So what I need to do is actually to put a condition in here so that this does not happen. And what I need to do is to actually, so we need a if condition in, so I'm actually going to surround this block here. And the reason being I'm going to do it this way is because if the page title is not in the metadata, then it's going to show up in the body. And what will happen is that actually will show up kind of weird in nature on the page. So I want to actually enclose all of that into a single block that if the title is in the page itself and not in the metadata, that is not showing all of this and coming out with a weird output like this. The long-term fix would be to actually go back and correct the content that is set up this way so that we don't have that problem going forward. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and code this fix in as I want to be able to show you all how to do this on your particular setup. So what we're going to check is if the page.meta.title attribute does exist, then we want to do page.meta.title. And then we also want to show the metadata. And I'm putting all of that, the H2 and everything else in here inside like this for on purpose. Really, this actually should also come think of it, should be a H1, not an H2, because it is the page title. So now that I've corrected that, I'm going to go ahead and indent this to correct that. And I have saved the page. So if we go back and refresh it, let's see, did I mistype something? Oh, so I have the title here as well as that. So what I need to do is also make another condition in here that will, so if the metadata title is present and, well, I guess that's that. Yeah. What I actually need to do is just remove it here from the page, and that should correct that issue that with the title showing twice. And as you see, it has. Now, what I was talking about earlier is let's put that back temporarily and remove this one. And it should now not show the credits, and it doesn't. As you see, it just only shows the title. And that's what I want it to do. All right, so let's remove this. And you also need to change this to posted. Now I like to also have updated on here. Updated 2020. Well, what's today? 2020 09.06 is the current date and time. And if we go back to here, so we have the posted date and time. And then I also want to include the updated date and time because sometimes you'll write a post, but then that post, either something in that post is incorrect or the data in there has changed or something of that nature. And if that's the case, you want to make those necessary updates. So I'm going to do if condition meta dot updated, so past tense. And then I want to do similar to how I have the above element with the posted date. So page.meta.updated. and then do a closing and if on this. The Jinja 2 template does have a datetime available in here where you can do a filtering of a time pattern. I don't do that, but if you wanted to, you could do that. And I'm also going to put updated here so that you clearly know that this is the updated time. And I want to put, yeah, okay. So if the updated date rather, has been provided, then there it is. All right. And let's see. I think that is sufficient. So should be good. So here we have the date posted by who? Yours truly, and updated on today at the time of this recording. And so here's that full post that you have there. All right, so let's go back to the home page. So we have our featured content up here, which is pretty great. And we have our list of posts down here. I actually think I want to get rid of this sidebar and probably actually move this to a separate page. That way I have a single column website that is capable of, well, it's already bootstrapped, so it can already resize for any type of device that is being used for. But I wanted to be able to have a single column website. That way it's less to manage, because when you have these sidebars over here, it's somewhat a little bit more complex, but not severely complex. Bootstrap makes it a little bit easier to deal with. That being said, I'm going to actually move, so we can move this elsewhere block down to the bottom of the page. So let's go and grab this content block here, or this div. And I want to move it within the nav. So here's the closing div for the main navigation section, or excuse me, the main page body. And I'm going to take this class off because I don't, well, I'm gonna leave that class there. And I want to actually add a horizontal row here. Class, call it border danger, I believe is what I'm looking for here with this one. And let's see if we get a red line there. Yes. So now that I have that there, I can actually go and take these two blocks off the side and we just comment that section. And we actually need to, let's move that down a line. And now let's see, there you go. Comment that section, almost, not quite, okay. I guess because I have the commented section in the middle, that when I try to hit the shortcut, it's not liking it so much. So now that we have that out of the way, we need to actually come up here and change the div on this container to take up the full width of the screen. And there you have it. All right, now if I have some additional blocks, I can drop these down here at the bottom if I choose, which is what I think I'm gonna do. I'm actually go ahead and space this out and put a BG, we'll go with light on this one just to see how it looks. And I'm probably going to do a empty div between the main and go back to class with a, I believe it's a margin. If not, it's padding to get kind of a gap. Yep, and it's kind of difficult to see. Let me change that to BG dark so you can see it a little bit better. All right, and so you see there's white space in between the footer and then this next block or section of the page. And now that I think about it, I don't like that red line there if I have this darker background here. And so that will get things through this particular page. I mean, excuse me, this particular section. the next thing that I'm gonna have to do is actually go back through and check the links on the page. And the reason being is because I moved the content around. That's kind of a more of a manual process. You could write a shell script that would be able to handle that, and I may actually end up doing that in this case. But it's a little bit more difficult to do and whatnot. And so I want to test out the bootstrap part of this, where it may show where it will resize, and as you see, it's resizing pretty well. And let's open this back out. All right, so there was a nav section up here at the top that was commented out earlier. I think I'm actually go ahead and bring it back. Okay, not sure what I did. All right, so here we go. So let's try to bring this back. And in case you're wondering, I actually use Visual Studio at sometimes. And so as you see me typing this, some of the shortcuts in Visual Studio are slightly different than those in Visual Studio Code. And so you'll see the screen randomly jump. It's because I accidentally hit the wrong shortcut. And so it's doing something completely different than what I intended. Just know I'm not just messing up things on purpose here. All right, so next I'm going to disable some of this stuff here for right now. And I'm going to actually go ahead and change some of these links that are here. So we go about, and we do contact on this one. And just as a helpful tip, if you do not have about or contact pages on your website, Google will actually penalize you for the lack of those pages, because it considers those 2 pages to be critical for every website. Again, about and contact pages are critical for every website according to Google. That being said, create them. Even if you don't have a lot of content on them, you need to create them and have links to them from pretty much any page on the site, because as Google crawls the site, it will look for those pages. And if you're trying to come up in the blogging world, those 2 pages and SEO will be a critical factor in what you are able to get in terms of SEO rankings. As you see, I don't have any content on my contact or any content on my about pages. I will be fixing that, but not in the video. All right, and if I wanted to add other categories or sections to the site, I could do that. I'll probably go back and tweak this so that I have pages for each category and have them to be able to be accessed from the navigation bar up here, as you see. But right now, the remaining text will remain there. It'll just be commented out. And I don't want to have this justified with the content in between. I really want it centered. So I'm going to change this to text center. And if I come back, looks like I got the wrong bootstrap class. Is it centered? I believe it might be centered. No. Okay. Align item center. Maybe that's what it is. All right. So yeah. Justify. Okay, looks like I'm missing class somewhere. I thought I had it. Maybe I don't. Okay. Let me go look back into my other code. And see, this is one of the main reasons that you want to be able to keep your existing code. So text center does exist. Okay. Maybe it's just not working for this. This is one of the main reasons you want to be able to keep your existing code and be able to reference your existing code, because sometimes you may make a mistake like this, or have some uncertainty like this, and it's still justifying, which I'm not sure why. And it may be because of this flex box that's here, and that's fine. I will just remove that for now. But worst case scenario, you can go to the Bootstrap website and reference the information that they have there about the classes and so forth. So if we go to documentation, text alignment is what I am looking for. And text center is the correct thing that I should be using, but for reasons that I don't understand, and it might, again, might be because of this deflex. Let's see what happens with that if I take that out and take this out and replace it with text center. All right, so it's still justifying to the left, and if I do margin auto, margin X auto, I believe this is okay. Still not doing what I wanted to do. That's fine. I will actually just undo this for the time being because I do have these other links that I also want to leverage in here. So it'll be fine if I put those more links in there. But right now, with it spaced out, you know, all the way across the screen like that, it's kind of looks kind of weird that you got those two links so far apart from each other. All right, and let's see, what else can we do? So I do want to monetize this site. What I will do is I will put another block down here. I'm not going to do that on video because of the amount of stuff I had to go through to get to the monetization code. But it essentially would be another block that goes down here on the page, or even at the bottom of the page here, that you can put a ad banner there. If you have a blog, I do recommend suggesting monetizing your blog. And that way you're able to make some money. You may not make a lot of money off of it, but you are making some money off the content that you are creating. However, if you're not interested in monetization, don't worry about it. But it's an easy way to make a little bit of passive income. You know, even if you're only getting $5 a month, $5 can probably get you a lunch or a snack or something, you know, for your efforts and your knowledge sharing. And it's also kind of, in my opinion, a good way of using that to your advantage because you're able to, the more content that you create that is useful to the community, whichever community you're in, whether you're in technology, whether you're in gardening, the more content that you create and the more people you bring to your site, the more money you get in return because of that. And so I kind of see it as a positive picture for that. So in the end, I'm going to go ahead and close out this series. If you want to check out the site, once I finish everything completely, like the bulk of the work is done, but if you want to see final tweaks and so forth that I've done, you can go check out this particular blog. It'll be a link down in the description below. This blog is hosted on my GitHub page, or GitHub on my GitHub pages, and you can check it out. You can also look at the finalized template. That source code will also be available in the almostengr.github.io repository. Again, the link to that will be down in the description below. Hopefully you have good success in building your site out, and I've given you some insight into how to build a template using MkDocs with the Jinja templating engine. If you have any questions, put them down below. I do read the comments. I do answer the comments. If you learned something from this video or interested in more videos like this, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I drop new videos every week on Tuesday and Saturday. And until next time, peace out.